RHONJ house husband, Ruelas is being slammed for perverted advice he gave to his 4 stepdaughters. The husband to Teresa Giudice has not been winning any points since he came onto the scene. Then he continued his backslide to the season 14 final. Now with some unsolicited and disgusting advice, Lewis is once again proving he should keep his mouth shut. Keep reading for more details on what he said. Viewers and co-stars may dislike Ruelas, but his stepdaughters sing his praises. Gia, Melania, Gabriella, and Adriana have nothing but great things to say about him. However, something came out during one of his wife, Teresa Giudice's podcasts that did not sit well with fans. It was revealed that Lewis has date nights with each stepdaughter. This was very off-putting to listeners and they let their frustrations be known. Now something new about Lewis is coming out, and it may be the nail in his coffin. Lewis shared the perverted advice that he gave Teresa's daughters, and anyone who heard it was immediately repulsed. According to Monsters and Critics, Lewis shared this on his wife's Turning the Tables podcast. It appeared he was trying to sound hip and cool, non-restrictive, and let them know that they should embrace their youth. Yet, it came off as the complete opposite. Ruelas shared a clip of him talking about becoming a stepfather to 4 girls on his Instagram. However, he turned off the comments so no one could say anything harsh or mean. Chrisigwell shared it as well, and did not turn off their comments. So many RHONJ fans saw red flags all over the place and sirens blaring that this was not a good situation. More so, some pointed out how Ruelas sounded manic during the podcast and never stopped to take a breath. He was very concerning with how he spoke, and the big question was how Joe Giudice felt about this. Joe had to leave America when he was released from prison as he was not a citizen. Currently, Joe lives in the Bahamas, but the girls see him as much as they can. Yet the comments continued on. Hopefully, he is just speaking without thinking and means nothing. Lewis recently came under fire for wishing suffering on Margaret Joseph's son. This caused such an uproar that he ended up having to issue a statement. What are your thoughts on Lewis' advice to his stepdaughters? Finally, is this crossing a line? Let us know in the comments below. Amanda has been a professional freelance writer for over a decade, holding both a BA and an MA. Her passions include animals, iced coffee, gnomes, summer, music, and Vanderpump Rules. In the dramatic world of the Real Housewives of New Jersey, RHONJ, scandals are as frequent as table flips. However, every so often, a moment comes along that even the most seasoned Housewives fan can't ignore. Ruelas, the fiancé, and now husband of Teresa Giudice, has found himself at the center of a firestorm. His advice, once seemingly supportive, has spiraled into something much darker and more controversial, earning him the label of perverted from critics and fans alike. The man behind the drama, Ruelas, burst onto the RHONJ scene as the charming and seemingly supportive partner of Teresa Giudice, one of the franchise's most iconic stars. He was initially welcomed with open arms by fans who were eager to see Teresa find love again after her tumultuous marriage to Joe Giudice. Lewis seemed like a breath of fresh air, successful, attentive, and devoted to Teresa and her daughters. But as the cameras rolled on, cracks began to appear in the polished exterior. Fans and cast members alike started noticing that Lewis's behavior wasn't always as sweet as it seemed. From awkward on-screen moments to whispers of control behind the scenes, it became clear that Ruelas was not just the perfect Prince Charming he was initially portrayed to be. The incident, when advice turns perverse, at RHONJ dinner tables are often the scene of heated confrontations, but it was in a more intimate setting that Lewis made his most infamous comment. In an episode that quickly became the talk of the Bravo universe, Lewis shared advice with the women that left both the housewives and the audience shocked. The context seemed innocent enough, discussing relationships and how to keep the spark alive. However, Lewis's words took a turn that many found disturbing. He offered advice that veered into territory that some labeled as perverted. Lewis suggested that men need to constantly feel desired and that it was a woman's duty to ensure her man felt this way. But it wasn't just the advice itself, it was the way he presented it, with a certain intensity that felt off-putting. Lewis's comments were perceived as being not only sexist, but also objectifying and creepy. He emphasized the importance of women performing certain acts to keep their men happy. framing it as a responsibility rather than a mutual desire. The advice, meant to be helpful, instead came off as manipulative, reducing relationships to mere transactions of pleasure. The backlash. Fans and cast members reacted. Didn't take long for the backlash to begin. Social media lit up with reactions from fans who were quick to voice their disgust and disappointment. Memes circulated, dissecting Lewis's comments and labeling them as gross and perverted. The hashtag #CreepyLewis began trending as fans shared their disbelief over what they had witnessed. But it wasn't just the fans who were appalled. Cast members also reacted, both on and off camera. Some housewives, like Margaret Josephs, were openly critical of Lewis. Margaret, never one to shy away from speaking her mind, called out the advice as degrading and dangerous. She pointed out that Lewis's comments perpetuated harmful stereotypes about gender roles and relationships. Others, like Melissa Gorga, tried to defend Lewis, suggesting that his words were simply misunderstood. However, even Melissa couldn't fully justify the way Lewis delivered his advice. In confessionals, she admitted that she found his comments weird and a little much. Teresa, ever the loyal partner, stood by Lewis. She brushed off the criticism, claiming that Lewis was only trying to be helpful and that people were blowing things out of proportion. However, her defense of Lewis only added fuel to the fire, with fans accusing her of being blinded by love and ignoring the red flags. The impact on Lewis's reputation. Ruelas, once seen as a positive influence in Teresa's life, quickly found his reputation tarnished. The incident became a defining moment for him on the show, overshadowing any previous good deeds or moments of kindness. His comments sparked discussions about his character and whether his relationship with Teresa was as healthy as it appeared. The incident also reignited old rumors about Lewis's past. Long before he appeared on RHONJ, there were whispers of questionable behavior in his previous relationships. Some ex-partners had allegedly spoken out about his controlling nature, and fans were quick to connect the dots between those stories and his on-screen behavior. As the scandal continued to unfold, Lewis found himself on the defensive. He tried to clarify his comments in interviews and social media posts, claiming that his intentions were pure and that he never meant to offend anyone. However, his attempts to backtrack only seemed to dig the hole deeper. The larger conversation, gender roles in the modern world beyond the immediate drama of the show. Lewis's comments opened up a larger conversation about gender roles and expectations in relationships. The idea that women are responsible for keeping their men satisfied is an outdated and harmful stereotype, and many viewers were rightfully angry that this narrative was being perpetuated on a popular television show. Critics pointed out that Lewis's advice wasn't just bad, it was dangerous. By suggesting that women need to constantly cater to their partner's needs, he was reinforcing a power dynamic that can lead to unhealthy and even abusive relationships. The controversy became a catalyst for discussions about consent, mutual respect, and the importance of equality in partnerships. Fans and commentators alike began calling for a more nuanced portrayal of relationships on reality TV. While the Housewives franchise has never shied away from drama, many argued that there's a responsibility to avoid promoting toxic behavior. Lewis's comments were a stark reminder that the lines between entertainment and real-life influence are often blurred. What's next for Ruelas? As the dust settles, the question remains, what's next for Ruelas? His future on RHONJ is uncertain. While some fans are calling for his removal from the show, others believe that the controversy will only make him more central to the drama. Lewis's relationship with Teresa will undoubtedly continue to be scrutinized. Whether this scandal will strengthen their bond or cause cracks to form remains to be seen. Teresa, known for her loyalty, will likely stand by her man, but even she might have limits when it comes to public perception. Ultimately, the saga of Ruelas serves as a reminder that in the world of reality TV, every word and action is amplified. What might seem like simple advice behind closed doors can become a scandal when broadcast to millions. And in the world of the Real Housewives, the consequences of that can be more dramatic than any table flip. This article captures the essence of the scandal surrounding Ruelas, emphasizing the impact of his controversial advice on his reputation and the broader conversations it sparked.